In Module 4, we will discuss the submittal and documentation requirements for the payment type selection report. This information can also be found in Appendix A of the Payment Type Selection Manual. The Payment Type Selection Report should follow the guidance provided in the Payment Type Selection Manual and should follow the minimum requirements outlined in Appendix A.4.1. Payment Type Selection Report should have as a minimum the following items: a typical section types and geographical cost locations if different than the district boundary, unit prices and quantities per centerline mile used in estimates, summary information sources, and the completed quality control checklist found in Appendix A. This is Appendix A of the Payment Type Selection Manual. Cost estimates and historical data, unit prices data, can be provided per county, per district, or per statewide averages to determine the most appropriate cost averages to use for the economic cost analysis. Included here is the estimates website link to get this cost information. The report will need to be signed either manually or use digital signatures for signing and sealing of the document. The payment report cover is to be signed and sealed by the payment design engineer preparing the report, and then the district design engineer, the DD, will need to sign their concurrence. If your project is a federal aid project, you would also need to get Federal Highway Administration concurrence on the cover. This is an example of a project type selection report cover. The payment type selection report should have a good description of the project location and a brief description of the work being done, as shown here from a project example. This needs to be brief. You can use a map from your project key sheet to show the project location. Indicate the state road number, the begin and end point, indicate the city and county, mention the overall number of lanes to be constructed, design speed, and if it's open or closed drainage system. Keep it simple. In addition to retaining the original documentation in the district design office, an electronic copy of the approved payment type selection report will be submitted to the state payment design engineer at least 6 months prior to construction funds, that means phase 52, being adopted into work program. A courtesy copy of the payment type selection report will be submitted to industry representatives. Payment type selection report will be monitored and periodically reviewed in detail for quality assurance and for purposes of identifying and improving deficiencies in design policies, procedures, standards, and guidelines. For federal aid projects not covered by certification acceptance, an electronic copy of the current approved payment type selection report will be forwarded directly to the appropriate Federal Highway concurrence. The district will deal directly with FHWA to resolve any questions. Central Office Pavement Management will be available for assistance if requested by the district or Federal Highway. FHWA will return directly to the district one copy of the summary sheet with signature denoting concurrence. This copy will be filed in the district project design file. Changes made subsequent to formal distribution will require a revision letter added to the report. Copy needs to be signed and sealed, dated, and filed for permanent record in the report. Minor changes may be noted in type or ink on the original payment type selection report with a responsible EOR initials and sign and seal date of the changes and file for permanent record. Major changes may require completely new pavement type selection report be prepared, in which case it is important to document that it supersedes a previous report. The rationale for selection should be clearly documented in the pavement type selection report. The reports do not need to be lengthy or overly verbose. They should focus on reasonable cost estimates and concise presentation of the analysis. On projects where there is a deviation from policy, for example, research type of projects, the reasons need to be clearly documented in the report. The quality control process includes three main activities. First, checking and reviewing of pavement type selection reports annually for compliance with policies, procedures, standards, guidelines, and good engineering practice. Second, checking and reviewing of the district unit costs to ensure that the approved pavement type selection reports are using correct unit costs. Third, properly document the quality control process that was followed. As a minimum, the pavement type selection report will include the QC checklist filled out and signed by the reviewer, or maintain a pavement type report quality control file maintained by financial ID number, and will consist of a copy of the sign and seal pavement cover, a copy of the QC checklist signed by the QC engineer, similar to the one that I will be showing in the next slide, and are included in the pavement type selection manual, Appendix A, pages A5 and A6. The quality assurance process needs to be followed for every report to ensure the quality control process is being followed for all pavement reports. The state pavement design engineer will be responsible for conducting and/or coordinating all pavement-related QA activities with each district and the turnpike. A QA review of district pavement activities will generally be conducted annually. The following pavement type selection checklist needs to be included in every pavement type selection report. This checklist outlines all the elements needed to be included in the report. That includes basic project information, elements analyzed for flexible design and rigid pavement design to compare, project mile estimates for initial and rehabilitation. This checklist needs to be signed at the bottom and dated by an independent reviewer different from the person that prepared the report, preferably the QC reviewer, for consistency. This concludes Module 4, Pavement Type Selection Report, and this ends the training.